Roswell, New Mexico, July 8, 1947. At 11 o'clock in the morning, the Public Information Office of the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release. It stated that personnel from the 509th Bombardment Group had recovered a flying disc. The press release was picked up by wire services within the hour. By midday, it had reached newspapers across the United States and around the world. By evening, it had been retracted. The commanding general of the U.S. 8th Air Force issued a correction from Fort Worth, Texas. What had been recovered was not a flying disc. It was a weather balloon, a radar tracking device. Nothing unusual, nothing classified, nothing worth discussing. The story was over before the morning papers could print it. 2 explanations, one day, issued by the same military. The press release is available at the Roswell Daily Record Archive. It is digitized, it is public, it reads exactly as described. The retraction is also public. What is not public, what has never been fully explained, is what the United States government knew on the morning of July 8, 1947, when it told the world it had recovered a flying disc, and what changed in the hours before it took that statement back. That is where this documentary begins. The sequence of events at Roswell begins not on July 8th, but on June 14th, 1947. On that date, a rancher named W. Mac Brazel and his son Vernon came across a large area of debris scattered across a field on the Foster Ranch, approximately 75 miles northwest of Roswell. Brazel described what he found as rubber strips, tin foil, paper, tape, and sticks. He left it where it was. On July 4th, he returned and collected some of the material. On July 7th, he drove into Roswell and reported the find to Sheriff George Wilcox. Wilcox contacted Roswell Army Airfield. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer for the 509th Bombardment Group, drove out to the ranch. He collected the material. He drove it back to RAAF. The following morning, July 8th, the Public Information Officer at Roswell Army Airfield, Walter Haut, issued the press release. Haut did not do this on his own initiative. He issued it on the direct order of the base commander, Colonel William Blanchard, one of the most senior and decorated officers in the U.S. Army Air Forces. Colonel Blanchard commanded the only nuclear-capable bomb group in the world at the time. The 509th had dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki 2 years earlier. Blanchard was not a man given to careless statements about recovered flying discs. He ordered the press release anyway. Within hours, General Roger Ramey in Fort Worth ordered the retraction. Photographs were taken of radar reflector material spread on the floor of Ramey's office. Those photographs were published. The story was closed. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who drove to the ranch, collected the material and flew it to Fort Worth, later stated publicly that what he saw in Ramey's office was not what he had recovered from the ranch. Marcel said this on the record. His account is documented. His name is in the declassified record. He died in 1986. He never changed his story. At 6:17 in the evening on July 8, 1947, the Dallas office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation sent a 1-page teletype to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. That teletype is available today in the FBI's public FOIA reading room known as the Vault. The message states that the 8th Air Force in Fort Worth had contacted the FBI and advised that an object described as hexagonal in shape and resembling a flying disc had been recovered near Roswell. It notes that the object was attached by cable to a balloon approximately 20 feet in diameter. The teletype describes the material as being forwarded to Wright Field, Ohio, the Air Force's primary technical intelligence facility, for examination. The FBI message was sent after the retraction had already been issued. It references the weather balloon explanation, but it also references Wright Field. Weather balloons are not sent to the Air Force's primary technical intelligence facility for examination. The FBI teletype is 1 page. It requires no interpretation. The reference number is 62-83894-1. It is on the FBI website. It has been there since 2011. The same day the Army was telling the press it had recovered a weather balloon, it was telling the FBI it was sending the material to Wright Field for technical analysis. Those two statements are not consistent with each other. In 1994, Congressman Stephen Schiff of New Mexico requested that the General Accounting Office conduct a formal search of government records related to the Roswell incident. The GAO searched records held at the National Archives, the Defense Department, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and multiple Air Force commands. Their findings were published in July 1995. The report is publicly available at govanfo.gov. The reference is GAO/NSIAD-95-187. The report confirmed that the Army Airfield at Roswell had issued the July 8th press release claiming recovery of a flying disc. It also confirmed that a substantial portion of the relevant government records no longer exist. Specifically, all RRAF administrative records from March 1945 through December 1949 had been destroyed. All outgoing messages from Roswell Army Airfield from October 1946 through December 1949 had been destroyed. The chief archivist of the National Personnel Records Center confirmed to the GAO that the document disposal forms, the forms that would explain why those records were destroyed and under what authority, did not properly indicate the basis for the disposal. The records that would document what happened at Roswell Army Airfield in July 1947 were destroyed. The paperwork that would explain why they were destroyed is incomplete. The GAO report does not conclude that the destruction was improper. It does not conclude that the destruction was intentional. It states what it found and what was missing. The GAO report is 70 pages long. It is available to anyone. Most people have never read it. In July 1994, the United States Air Force released its official explanation for the Roswell incident. The report is titled, Report of Air Force Research Regarding the Roswell Incident. It is available at the NSA website at nsa.gov, where it was published as part of a FOIA release package. The Air Force conclusion, what was recovered at Roswell in July 1947 was debris from a classified balloon project called Project Mogul. Project Mogul was a classified program to develop high-altitude acoustic sensors capable of detecting Soviet nuclear tests. It used large balloon trains carrying sophisticated equipment. Some of those trains were launched from Alamogordo Army Airfield in New Mexico in the summer of 1947. The Air Force stated that Flight Number 4 of the Mogul balloon train, launched in early June 1947, is the most likely source of the Roswell debris. The balloon train was made of neoprene balloons, radar reflectors, and instrumentation. It was classified. Acknowledging it publicly in 1947 would have compromised the program. The 1947 weather balloon cover story, in other words, was a cover story. Not for a flying disc, but for a classified surveillance program. This is the official explanation. It has been the official explanation since 1994. There are 3 things the official explanation does not resolve. First, Flight Number 4 of the Mogul program was never officially tracked past its launch point. The Air Force reconstruction of its likely trajectory places it in the area of the Foster Ranch. But this is a reconstruction, not a confirmed track. The original tracking records for that flight do not exist. Second, Colonel Blanchard's decision to issue a press release claiming recovery of a flying disc is not consistent with the behavior of a base commander who had just recovered classified balloon equipment. Standard procedure would have been silence, not a press release. Third, the FBI teletype of July 8th, sent after the retraction, describes the material being sent to Wright Field for examination. Mogul balloon equipment would not require technical intelligence analysis at Wright Field. It was built by U.S. contractors. The Air Force already knew what it was made of. The 1994 report is thorough. It is detailed. It is the official position. It does not explain those three things. Walter Haut was the public information officer at Roswell Army Airfield, who issued the July 8th press release on Colonel Blanchard's orders. Haut spent the rest of his life in Roswell. He gave interviews. He participated in UFO conferences. He maintained for decades that he had simply issued a press release as ordered and had no personal knowledge of what had been recovered. In 2002, Haut signed a notarized affidavit. The affidavit was sealed with instructions that it not be opened until after his death. Haut died in December 2005. The affidavit was opened in 2007. Its contents were subsequently published. In the affidavit, Haut stated that he had personally seen the recovered object at the base. He described it as approximately 15 feet long and 6 feet wide, egg-shaped, with a smooth metallic surface and no visible seams or rivets. He stated that he had also seen bodies, small, with large heads, not consistent with human proportions. He stated that he believed what was recovered was not of terrestrial origin. The affidavit is a sworn legal document. It was signed and notarized in 2002. Walter Haut was a U.S. military veteran who spent 60 years in Roswell. He chose to leave this account sealed until he could not be asked about it. It is not a government document. It is not a classified record. It is a personal affidavit from the man who issued the original press release. The official Air Force explanation does not reference the Haut affidavit. The official Air Force explanation was published in 1994. The affidavit was not opened until 2007. In July 2023, David Grush testified under oath before the House Oversight Committee that the U.S. government has possessed craft of non-human origin since at least the 1930s. He stated that crash retrieval programs have been ongoing for decades. He specifically referenced recovered biologics. Grush did not name Roswell. He did not need to. Roswell is the origin point of the modern debate. Every subsequent claim about U.S. government crash retrieval programs traces its lineage to July 1947 and a press release that lasted less than one day. In the course of producing this documentary, we were able to locate one individual willing to speak on record. His name is Thomas Aldrich, retired U.S. Air Force, Office of Special Investigations. He worked in the Air Force's FOIA Compliance Division from 1989 to 2001. His role included processing and reviewing requests related to historical Air Force records, including records from the 1940s and 1950s. He was involved in the document review process that preceded the 1994 Roswell report. He agreed to speak under one condition, that we not identify which specific document categories he personally reviewed. We agreed. He is speaking now, he says, because the GAO report documented the missing records accurately. But the public never understood what it means institutionally when records of that age and that provenance are destroyed without proper disposal authority. What follows is his account, unedited, unabridged, in his own words.
When you work in records management for a military organization, you develop a very clear understanding of what documents are supposed to exist and why. Every command generates records, outgoing messages, administrative correspondence, supply records, personnel actions. Every one of those categories has a retention schedule, a defined period during which the records must be kept, and after which they can be destroyed under a specific authorization. The records from Roswell Army Airfield that the GAO found missing were not destroyed on a normal retention schedule. The disposal authority forms, the paperwork that would tell you who authorized the destruction, under what regulation, and when, were described by the National Personnel Records Center archivist as not properly indicating the authority. That phrase matters. It means someone destroyed those records without following the required procedure. Either the procedure wasn't followed correctly, or the documentation was itself incomplete or missing. From the outside, the effect is identical. The records are gone, and the paper trail that would explain why they're gone is also incomplete. I want to be careful about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. I'm not saying those records were deliberately destroyed to conceal something. Records from that era were routinely mishandled. Retention schedules weren't consistently applied. Destruction sometimes happened without proper authorization for reasons that had nothing to do with concealment. What I am saying is this: the specific records that would document what happened at Roswell Army Airfield in July 1947, the outgoing messages, the administrative correspondence, the operational records, are the exact records you would expect to survive if the official explanation is correct. A weather balloon recovery generates a small amount of documentation and creates no reason for anyone to interfere with the normal record's life cycle. If the official explanation is correct, those records should exist. They don't. That is a fact. It is documented by the GAO. It is not a theory. The 1994 Air Force report is a serious document. The people who produced it conducted a genuine search. The Project Mogul explanation is not invented. Mogul was a real program. It did fly balloon trains out of New Mexico in 1947, and the general description of the debris is consistent with that equipment. What the report cannot account for is the behavior of the people involved. Colonel Blanchard was the commander of the most elite bomb group in the U.S. military. He had security clearances and operational experience that virtually no one else in the country had at that time. When he ordered Walter Haut to issue a press release saying they had recovered a flying disc, he was not being careless. He was not confused. He was not making an unauthorized statement. Senior military commanders do not issue press releases about sensitive recoveries without authorization from above. The press release was issued. That means someone above Blanchard either authorized it or did not stop it in time. And the retraction, which came from General Ramey within hours, was also authorized from above. Two authorized public statements, directly contradictory, issued within one day by the same military chain of command. That is not a mistake. That is a decision. The question the documents cannot answer is what the decision was made to conceal. The Mogul explanation is the official answer, and it may be the correct one. But the official answer has been the official answer since 1994, and the records that would definitively confirm it. The July 1947 outgoing messages from Roswell Army Airfield, the operational logs, the communications up the chain of command, don't exist. The absence of those records is documented. The reason for their absence is not. I've spent a career around government records. I know what it looks like when records are missing because of routine mismanagement, and I know what it looks like when records are missing for other reasons. I'm not going to tell you which this is. I'll leave that to you.
The official record on Roswell consists of the following publicly available documents: the July 8, 1947 press release published in the Roswell Daily Record, digitized and publicly available. The July 8, 1947 FBI teletype from the Dallas field office to Director Hoover. Reference number 6, 2-83894-1. Available at vault.fbi.gov. The July 1994 Air Force Research Report on the Roswell incident. Available at nsa.gov as part of a FOIA release package. The July 1995 GAO report, reference GAO/NSIAD 95-187, documenting the results of a search for Roswell-related records across all relevant government agencies. Available at govinfo.gov. The 1997 Air Force follow-up report, the Roswell Report. Case closed, addressing witness accounts of recovered bodies. Available at esd.whs.mil. These documents represent the full extent of what the U.S. government has officially released about Roswell. Taken together, they confirm the following facts without dispute. The Army Air Forces issued a press release claiming recovery of a flying disc. The press release was issued by order of the base commander. It was retracted the same day by order of a general. The material was sent to Wright Field for examination. All administrative records from Roswell Army Airfield covering the relevant period were subsequently destroyed. The disposal documentation for those records is incomplete. What the documents do not contain: any record of what Colonel Blanchard saw before he ordered the press release, any record of what Major Marcel transported to Fort Worth, any outgoing message from RAAF describing what was recovered, any technical analysis from Wright Field of the recovered material. Those records, if they ever existed, are gone. On July 8, 1947, the United States Army Air Forces told the world it had recovered a flying disc. By evening, it said it hadn't. The records that would explain what happened in the hours between those two statements no longer exist. The paperwork that would explain why those records no longer exist is incomplete. The intelligence officer who collected the material said publicly, on the record, that what he transported to Fort Worth was not what appeared in the photographs. The man who issued the original press release left a sworn affidavit, sealed until after his death, describing something he had personally seen that is not consistent with a weather balloon. The General Accounting Office searched every relevant government archive and found the key records missing. The Air Force provided an explanation in 1994. That explanation may be correct, but the records that would confirm it are the same records that are missing. The July 8th press release is available at the Roswell Daily Record Archive. The FBI teletype is available at vault.fbi.gov. Reference 62-83894-1. The Air Force 1994 report is available at nsa.gov. The GAO report is available at govinfo.gov. Reference GAO/NSIAD-95-187. Anyone can read them. Draw your own conclusions.